first thing to say is any study in arts and humanities and social sciences as well is concerned with revealing something of human nature, creativity, imagination, and revealing an insight into understanding and maybe self-understanding as well. With that in mind,
John, could you speak up? Because you won't hear it.
Sorry. As I was saying there, as I was saying, any study in the arts, humanities, and social sciences is concerned with its foundation with exploring something or revealing something of human nature, creativity, and self-understanding, imagination as well. And I directed to this painting there that really, its colour is the thing that stands out. This kind of bluey greyness. The sun, the sea, this mountainous kind of region over here, and these structures here as well. And the thing that stands out really is the colour of it, this bluey greyness, this kind of in-betweenness. Nothing is as it really seems, in the sense that if the sun there, it's this grey blue, it's not yellow, it's not thriving, it's not burning brightly. And as well, the way it's, these broad kind of brush strokes that are given to make it, its symmetry hints at kind of an order and a chaos, this kind of in-betweenness, this kind of threshold world. And the colour of this bluey grey is neither black nor white, and things like that. And that's something in the Gothic where we have this kind of this in-between world, this threshold, this combination of romance and horror. And so I'm going to look a little bit about the Gothic novel of Charles Maturin and Legion Chief. And put broadly, it tells the story of one Colonel Mormon, grandson of an Irish chieftain who has been dispossessed by the English Lord Maturin and now lives in servitude on the edge of his former lands in turn of the 19th century west of Ireland. And that in itself creates a world of opposition and tension. And for Maturin, Ireland is home to a curious and strange opposition in which extremes of refinement and barbarism are united by existing oppositions in religion and politics and manners. And the Gothic form, with its uncertain lines of romance and horror, was ideally suited to expressing curious oppositions, the extremes and juxtapositions contained within a changing Irish colonial landscape. And again, things like that, this idea of the sea, the beach, the grey sky overhead, hints at this idea of foreboding. I mean, again, depending on the weather, I suppose, on a very sunny day, it would be bereft of that hanging feeling, this sense of darkness that tinges a particular region. In essence, it's a world of tension, and the tension that it's a tension that defies certainty, and it's one that suggests that which is unknown. It suggests a defiance of understanding, and it gives activity to imagination. Potentially making something extraordinary out of something very ordinary. And the potential for extraordinary events is hinted at in the Gothic Ireland drawn by Maturin. It is a wild and desolate place with an occasionally ominous castle, its walls built with stories of past outrages and now home to their modern repercussions. It's a home to suppression, mystery, and tension. And the Ireland of Gothic tradition is one inscribed with the hushed conspiratorial whisperings of rebellion. There are Anglo-Irish descendants ruling guiltily and dethroned chieftains languishing in stormy communities. The dispossessed are bereft of their castles and lands, but the castle has not yet let them go. And what was once home has disappeared, and the injustice is perceived at dispossession means one is neither here nor there in the victimhood of it all. Owner of the land and yet not owner of the land. The situation lacks closure and therefore it lacks clarity and certainty. To both rational and irrational minds, the world, this world, is one that defies understanding. To perceive rational Irish, they ask, why were we dispossessed? Why are these colonial invaders here? And to perhaps the more rational mind, I ask the opposite. What else could you expect? A rational civilization moving into a new land to take it over and improve it, and bring it along. But what defies understanding and defies understanding on both sides breeds fear and uncertainty and a niggling sense of foreboding emerging from all that is inconclusive. And to bring it to the Venetian chief, Maturin, this was the frightening prospect that greeted Armida Salvin, daughter of Lord Montclair, who, quote, trembled of the savage country she was to visit. The desolate, open wasteland of the country where there is no clear sight of human habitation, no clear sound of human life. And is charged with the power of mysterious unpredictability. Gothic spaces are sites of the unknown, sites of anxiety and dread, and sites from where escape is not possible, only an unavoidably uncertain foreboding. Armida de Salvin's fearful tremblings are proven justified when she is almost strangled in the openness by the crazed chieftain, Morvan, who, maddened at the decline was set, he mistakes her, the blameless daughter of Lord Montclair, for the Queen Elizabeth. Armida's known identity is challenged. She isn't the genteel young lady, or isn't treated as such in this crazy world. And Armida's attacker, a dispossessed chieftain, resides in a cave. And just going to lend the imagery. This underscores the sense of in-betweenness by invoking the cultural landscape of that means of its significance. The cave stood less a feature than a threshold through which one could enter purgatory, which is the exemplar of liminality and in-betweenness. The most well-known example may be St. Patrick's Purgatory at Loch Derry, a cave home to Ireland's patron saint, who would resonate with a collective Irish sense of withdrawal that to some extent left the Irish race incongruous, practically non-existent, or existing in an alternative way in an outer realm, since they are neither here nor there, as it were. The Irish residents in a grey area offset clear and rational black and white lines. There are two civilizations, each markedly different in ideology. So in the form of a landscape that embodies ideological uncertainty, such as is shown in Gothic Ireland, confrontation is inevitable. And in the Venetian chief, this clash is dealt with in the cave. A dark, uncertain, and liminal environment mirrors the minds that are moving within. Tensions form in the salty air, and the forum for their enactment is the cave. Terror is in facing into the darkness and not knowing how one is likely to emerge from it. This is a terror held in the collective of a culture of civilization, and also held in the conscience of any individual within that culture. The terror is also a possibility of the new invader becoming like the old Venetian invader. History repeating itself, as it were. The sight of ruins can prompt this, can prompt questions over the future, confronting the present hour with future decline, suggesting nothing is fixed or certain. And the beach, where the cave is to be found, continues that idea of liminality and uncertainty. As cultural perceptions to and fro in different ways, the beach and the primitive world of the cave can represent the horror of barbarism as much as it can represent the refuge from civilization and the claustrophobia of polite society. Movement towards the beach may be a move back to natural roots. But of course, this is a flip to the colonial context of the Gothic, where development and civilization is the definition of destiny and the goal of the future. The ideological movement is in the opposite direction, and the literal movement is in the same. The beach and the cave and those that reside there may symbolize, in a primitivist sense, all that is good about the past, or conversely may symbolize the exact opposite, all that is bad and a hindrance to progress. Detached from the conformity of the certified mainland symbolizes the in-betweenness of the world, and the ambiguity of what to be civilized and uncivilized means, the vagueness of human benefit. With regard to colonialism and civilizing enterprise, there is goodness and badness, and it is on the beach that perhaps one can keep going or turn back. Perhaps the horror is in making a decision, since there is romantic appeal to both sides. Maturin's Ireland is painted in the Gothic form, hints at a wildness that could enable private feelings of frustration as a repression of civilization. Of course, to enact or perform such privacy in the wild, freedom of open and by implication public space would seem unreal and unconscionable. Now, seeing the possibility of leaving aside civilized conformity unfurled in the landscape before one's eyes when you're presented as frontiers alone is enough to tease. And the cave, the beach, the wild and desolate land challenge rationalized behavioral tendencies, crafting space in the form of a threshold on the cusp of the inner private and outer public, questioning in a very direct way how one should behave and how one wants to behave, what is expected of one and what one wants to do. Illustrating the potential miasma of this threat of barbarity to civility is, I suppose, corruption or pollution, an idea that was hinted by Dr. McLaughlin in the last talk. This potential is exemplified in the purity of Armida Fitzallen. The horror is the idea that one might be won over, that you in particular might be won over, being among the transient shadows or in the darkness that appeals to the natural state, divine civility. Armida falls madly in love with the rebel, Irish rebel Colonialism, grandson of her attacker, dispossessed chief, and in doing so she forgets her good manners as mistress engaged to a respectable English army officer. The capacity for Ireland to embody a strange paradox is given momentum in the Legion Chief from the perspective of one foreign to the land in Armida, one who is accustomed only to the sunny regions of Italy or the cultivated fields of England, meaning that the effect of such a scene was like that of the New World. Contrast is outlined again as she, as arriving there, she felt already the wider transforming effects of the scenery. Transformation is a very real possibility. Questioning of the colonial enterprise, of the dream of a particular kind of civilization is likely. Questioning empire. The problem is whether one should rejoice or fear that likelihood. Ireland is a place altogether exotic, and its ways and culture may only be apprehended by a connection between those within and those outside. Maturin's Gothic Ireland is infused with this sensibility and with tempestuous to and fro of matters, religious, political and cultural. Such matters distinguish civilization, and in the making of civilization, the past is created in differing degrees of the present. Civilization comes from somewhere. Its parent is primitive simplicity, and there is potentially a sense of guilt at any attempt to destroy or suppress it, particularly when faced with it at these frontier areas such as the beach or the cave. Memory, both collective and individual, may be a dangerous thing when reinvigorated by a prompt offered by a frontier zone. Past and present are synchronic, and the paradox of different times coexisting at the same time creates a tension that cannot rightly be resolved. Rather, it is a tension in an ongoing search of a resolution that can never materialize. The death of Colonialism in a rebellion against its oppressors drives young Armida Fitzallen to drink poison, rejecting her English suitor and the particular kind of civilization that offers. The world of uncertainty is infected by an overall sense of hopelessness and despair, which perceives no escape. And as kind of an artist's rendition of it, we picture a before and after. This was angelic figure arrives at the sea, at the point of the sea, as was newly written, upholding, I suppose, all the virtues, the purity of a civilization, and perhaps then a flip side to that, roughly the same point at the coast of the sea, and black darkness, that's what we call it, but greyness, that underlines a threshold, and I suppose an edge that one can fall on either side. There is a belief in the colonial enterprise, as there is concern over its cost, and the death of its is perhaps the cost. Knowledge of this balance, or this sublime chaos, this ordered chaos, is at the root of a sense of foreboding, the sense that things are never quite resolved in this perfect balance. One does not know where the mind will lead. Darkness, grayness, and uncertainty hang as a shroud, particularly so over those moving and limited spaces. This two-mindedness, this ever-present danger that resides in the individual, as is amplified in a culture, this danger of the almost inevitable corruption of one world with another, and the fear of not knowing whether this is good or bad, is ably illustrated through the Gothic as an aesthetically structured, rhetorically imaginative experience of a colonial engagement. And on top of that then, the changing patterns of civilization, desire and empathy such an engagement brings. And as a final slide, the path ahead is cloudy, it's foggy, it's difficult to see where one is going. And standing on the peak looking outward, you could turn either way. So that's it. Thank you.